£4 a bit there, gorgeous.
Are you referring to me or to my young friend here?
I thought that would have been obvious, love.
If it's the nearest milk bar you're looking for, try taking the first left down the road.
No, take the first right and keep walking till you get into the canal.
Look, do we get a drink or don't we?
I take it you are old enough to come in here, you lot?
Old enough to vote and die for me country. You come round and back with me, love, and I'll show you what else I'm old enough for.
You know, I thought you'd have had more sense than that, Betty Turpin.
What's that?
Selling firewater to savages.
Oh, don't worry, Mrs. Shaw, but if they come with any of their monkey and have got a couple of good judo holds, my Cyril taught me, not to mention a very nasty karate chop.
I think it's the haircuts that make people frightened of them lads. But of course, once upon a time round here, there was nothing else but basin crops if you were under 21.
Yes, maybe so, but in them days they didn't go about walking about with big boots on, did they?
Oh no, it were all clogs in them days, Ena.
Tonight, we tell you what your chances of survival might be in various parts of the country if there's a nuclear war. And we report evidence that if you do survive, you'll then have to face a post-nuclear ice age.
How do it, oh do it, what they do it for. Won't somebody tell, if only we knew it. How do it, oh do it, you can bet we've been doing it as well.
Do It All are doing Contiplast leather look shelving $229 and Marley super soft flooring from $775. They're doing ring fluorescent light fittings $5.99 and 50% off polycell double glazing.
If only we knew it, how do it, all do it, you can bet we've been doing it as well.
Hello, Ronnie.
Hello, John. How are you?
Fine. You're having another welcome coffee break.
Oh, yes, another coffee. I drink a lot of it. I'm a coffeeholic.
How did you find Russia's this morning?
I just went through the door and there they were on the street. No, they were all right, I think. They were fine. Well, they looked nice.
Yeah.
It was a lot of what they call background stuff, you know. People, prisoners locking up and unlocking and the warders, you know, that gives the atmosphere in this lovely set.
Do you find you have to reshoot quite a bit, or...?
Only my stuff.
Oh.
What was it? No. Oh, I beg your pardon. Who's that fellow down there? No, Sid's very good. He gets it all right before we start, and we don't have to do too much reshooting.
Well, how about the prison itself? Do the prisoners watch and write to you?
Well, they're not allowed to watch it unless they're privileged prisoners. They're not allowed to watch after 7 o'clock. I mean, they all love Blue Peter, because they see a lot of that.
Do you remember I forgot your name? When you were on the programme?
Certainly do.
I turned round and I said, "This is Ronnie," and it went completely.
It did,
You
yes.
said, "No, I'm Ronnie," the other one. Oh.
Yes, you've forgotten the other one, yes. Call it. Corbett,
yeah.
I mix them
do
up.
take two on that one. Any funny things ever happened to you then?
One thing that did happen, which was not really to do with Porridge, but I was filming Porridge at the time outside, and someone came up to me when I was not on the set and said, "I know you." I said, "No, yes, possibly, and you never know what to say, quite." And he said, "Now, just a minute, of course, television," he said. I said, "That's right." He said, "It's still not working, you know, properly." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "The television you put into my house." He thought I was a technician that had delivered. He thought I'd delivered this set to him. Yes, he was quite convinced. You'd probably seen me in the shop, you know, on the box.
Yeah.
But he was quite convinced that I was...
That's lovely. Well, thanks very much, Ronnie. I'll let you get on with your coffee now. Enjoy it. I left Ronnie...
Hello and welcome to the last edition of Spacewatch and our final mission to choose the winner of the Spacewatch competition. The prize, a trip to the home of Space Shuttle launches at Cape Canaveral. There are 5 finalists, all of whom correctly answered the questions we set in TV Times back in July. I'll be talking to each finalist a little later. So now let's meet the finalists and ask them in turn to describe their experiments. First, let's begin with Stuart Downward from Nottingham.
My idea was to have positioned in space by the space shuttle a radio telescope receiving long-wave radio waves from space.
Well, Joanne, you had a odd suggestion. It had to do with fish, I believe.
Yes, it's to take a sealed tank of fish into space and see how they would cope in weightlessness, and then later on take eggs up into a space station and let them hatch out there.
And Amarjeet, you had a fascinating suggestion that had to do with flightless birds and other creatures. How did you come about this?
Well, I've got a book and it's got pictures of revolving space stations of the future. And one of them just had pools of water with no life. And so I thought if you could have flightless birds which couldn't crowd the air above, like the penguin, or which just live near the water and feed off fish.
Rachel, we also had a natural history suggestion from you that had to do with small animals being born in a space station.
Yes, I thought it would be a good idea to put a rat that's about to give birth on the space shuttle and see if the birth could take place without any gravity, see what effect it had on the offspring.
And Peter, you had a suggestion that had to do with plants.
Yes, how do plants react to zero-G? Well, the future of long-term space travel depends on this sort of research.
So there we are, the 5 finalists. Who's the lucky winner? Well, before we find out, let's take a look at the prize itself.
You know them 2 judo holes your Cyril taught you?
Yeah, what about them?
Well, I'd get them out if I were you, because we're going to need them with that lot any minute now.
The Doomsday Group assume that Soviet missiles are targeted on military and key industrial installations. The pattern of attack they select would involve 342 warheads, totaling 219 million tons of TNT. The authors say this is the lowest level of attack we can expect. The Home Office does not dispute that an attack of this scale is well within the bounds of possibility. A south-southwest wind is assumed. The question the computer had to answer, how many casualties and where?
Jim came home from a hard day's graft. All he wanted was a nice repast.
What, no meat? What, no meat? What about a bit of British lamb?
Could have had it speedy. Okay, yeah.
What, no meat?
It's ever so easy.
Ever so easy. Ever so easy.
What, no meat? Ever so quick. Ready in a tick. What about a bit of British lamb?
Well, what's it like actually to fly on Concorde?
Well, of course, it's a marvellous aeroplane. It's a real aviator's aeroplane. Mind you, there's a lot of computerage between what you actually do and what actually happens, so that tends to flatter the pilot. But it's an aeroplane which is really quite like no other.
It's almost like a little spacecraft because it flies just on the edge of space, doesn't it?
We're just on the threshold of space, so that if you look out of the window during a flight, you can see the dark blue of outer space, and if you look carefully at the horizon, you can even make out the curvature of the Earth. Mind you, just recently, we haven't been able to make that out quite so clearly. Since this volcano in Mexico has been erupting, we found that the visibility between 50 and 60,000 feet has been reduced from, say, 300 to about 200 nautical miles.
I mean, is it true you have to look out for space-age hazards like cosmic rays and solar flares?
We've got a detector on board which detects radiation from solar flares, and if we should encounter one of those, of course, we descend so that the atmosphere above us can shield us. But mind you, the dosage rate on Concorde is exactly, although it's double that you get on a jumbo, but on a jumbo you're there for twice as long, so at the end of it all you're just as well or badly off as you would have been, no matter which aeroplane you flew.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Chris, but don't go away. We have an important job for you to do shortly.
Well, here we have an attempt by the computer to display the effects of burns, which are the casualty rates in the first 10 seconds after the 220 megatons of weapons are exploded. You got 40 to 60% in sort of Glasgow. Edinburgh, you're what, less than 40%. And the northeast, you're around about 20 to 40%. In London, which we've just about got to, it varies a bit, up to 60%.
How many people are killed by the fireball like this in the first 10 seconds?
About 2 million. This is a map of blast casualties, which occurs over the next 2 minutes. The bright red areas are 90 to 100% casualty rates, and the orange areas, which is a few, is 80 to 90%.
As a result of this blast over the next 2 minutes, how many people are dead?
We now have a cumulative total of 31 million dead or seriously injured. We now have a map of fallout casualties superimposed on top of blast and burns. And there's about 38 million dead and 4 million seriously injured at this point in time, after 2 weeks.
38 million?
38 million.
Every Kwik-Fit fitter has to go to school. We teach them all there is to know, each little golden rule. Our fitters have to be first class. Only the best will do. When they pass with flying colours, they're official boys in blue. So drive on down to Kwik-Fit. We're waiting just for you. Every product's guaranteed.
You'll love their prices too.
You can't get better than a Kwik-Fit fitter.
You can't get better than a Kwik-Fit fitter.
You can't get better than a Kwik-Fit fitter. We're the boys to trust.
2TR. So now the moment we've all been waiting for, the winner of the Spacewatch competition. So Chris, tell us who's going to be the lucky person.
Well, the lucky person is Stuart Downward of Nottingham, and I must say I really do envy him this trip to Kennedy Space Centre. I think his idea was simply magnificent. Well done, Stuart. Many congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, that sounds good. And how's he going to get there?
Well, British Airways, naturally.
Arthur Latham. Putney was one of the first Labour seats to fall last night, the end of a career for Hugh Jenkins, who at 71 was privately quite keen to retire anyway. The victor, David Mellor, who's 30 and a barrister.
We always knew, and indeed I said at that meeting, that it was to Putney that Mrs. Thatcher would be looking to see if she was going to be in Downing Street the following day, and we were determined not to let her down, and indeed we didn't.
Can I ask you very quickly, and really in a word, what was the real factor that tipped the scales?
That Labour had failed almost every section of the community in Putney. Although it's a very varied community, no one had done very well in the last 5 years, and I'm afraid they thought it was time for change.
Well, that's it from Spacewatch.
Oh, I wouldn't mind joining them. Wouldn't you? Well, listen, you can't go till you finish off that plateful. Now...
a ladder or underneath the car, selling you a spare part or popping up a bar.
You'll cook us on the blinkers, Jones, but I think I know what's wrong.
What it needs is a nudge and a wink and a cheeky, cheerful song. We are three cracks who wear tin hats and dance a step or two. Advertising any old crap, 'cause any old crap will do. We'll maximise your market share in 30 seconds flat. Impersonating chickens and behaving like a twat. I spent 3 years at RADA, where I learnt the Cockney chat. I got my first commercial directly after that. The world of advertising, it is a piece of piss. You go like that, and then like that, and then you go like this. We are three kids who act like tits for quite substantial fees. And halfway through the advert, we hold up one of these. We wear designer overalls, we look a bit inane, but we never ever worry, 'cause we have no brain, what no brain, what no brains at all. We never swear or turn up late, we never go on strike. We're the kind of British workmen the British public like. We always pop our heads up and grin our cheeky grin. We go down to the boozer till our agents all walk in. What no work, what no work, what no work at all.
Hey, Knocker, the look on that old fellow's face. Remember, down on his knees looking for his glasses. Give us your Rossetti. What do you want that for? Give us your Rossetti, I said. Come on, give us your matches. Knock it off! I'll pay 20 pence for that. Then you should have more sense than support a bum team then, shouldn't you? Because that's what they are, you know. All bums. Come on, give us your matches.
Oi, Geronimo, what do you think you're doing?
Are you talking to me, Mother?
Well, I'm not talking to the cat, and don't call me.
Well, it's like this, see. We was going to set fire to Eddie Duncan, only we couldn't find him. So we're using the Rossetti instead. Sort of a demonstration, you know. Protest, like.
Well, protest outside the street, so get supped up and get out.
And what if we don't then, Mother? Are you going to hit us with your handbag?
I'm in a bit of trouble then, Betty.
Yeah.
Grandad, Grandad, you're lovely.